Hopefully it captures properly.
Yep. Science is right. The universe is filled with chaos. Dancing, whistling, public displays of air guitar. Someone's got to enforce a little order out there. Well, don't they? Well, don't they? We are the Zedites. It's our self-appointed duty to impose conformity throughout the galaxy. In our duties, we excelled, or so we thought, until we visited Earth, where we saw methods of discipline beyond even our imagination. Huge coliseums called abusement parks. Great centrifuges in which offenders were spun like test tubes. Gladiatorial arenas from which no prisoner could hope to escape. Oh, the screams we heard! Inspired, we brought these designs back to our own planet and refined them. And now the rebellious everywhere shall know the horrors of the Wheel of Ferris, the Barrel of Fun, and our darkest triumph of all, Bumper Wars. Whoever offends the Zedites will pay. And pay, and pay.
And that sets the tone for this game pretty thoroughly. Yeah, this is what happens when people wanted to make Quake 3, but the only publisher they could get was Scholastic. Just make sure I got my controls the way I thought I do. Cool. We're just gonna go straight into tournament because, well, this game, while silly, is actually pretty fun. Yesterday, you were a male shuttle pilot for Galax, happily rushing out the swimsuit issue of Connubial Borg Review to the lonely sentinel on Outer Fnarb. When a Quark storm forced an emergency landing on planet Z, you were captured by the sadistic Zedites. Before you could say, what about interplanetary protocol, you were tried and convicted of violation of sacred airspace, a capital offense. Your sentence, play until dead. Today you complete in the Bumper Wars arenas. Like a gladiator of ancient Rome, your sole purpose in life is to entertain the pain-lusting Zedite elite. Lose a round, you die. Win a round, you live to play another. Tomorrow? Optimistic word. There is one ray of hope. Win 15 rounds in 15 nerve-frying arenas. Then, under Zedite law, you must be granted your freedom. Needless to say, it's never been done. As a Chaplain droid who administered your last rites, may your driving skills exceed your flying skills, my son. Night. You are ripped from your sleep, dragged from your old prison cell, and herded into a cramped and smelly transport shuttle. The eyes of your shuttle mates tell a grim tale. You are not the only arena fodder aboard. No words are spoken. No eye contact made. Knowledge that only one of you will be making the return trip dangles amongst you like an obscene piñata. The shuttle hisses to a stop. An ill-lit arena on the outskirts of Nath City. As you are shoved into the chill night air, a note of optimism sounds in your shriveled brain. At least you're all first-timers. On paper, your chances are as good as anyone else's. On paper. Of course, they don't use paper in these here parts. We have one car, but we can choose its color. Rainbow.
You have been found guilty of gross offenses against the Zedites. Your sentence, play until terminated. It shouldn't be long.
Yeah, the single player in this game is all long matches. I can probably play most, if not always. Bots get some pretty fantastic names, but it's very clearly not bothering with setting. First level is pretty easy, it's just kill. You're fighting 6 other dudes.
I hate you. Did I mention that? Move along.
Yeah, the Zedites? Not so nice. First victory in the arenas has brought some unexpected rewards. You have earned the privilege of doing grunt work in the gas mining fields of Dbarg. Aren't you the lucky one? Ah well, you barely have time to coat your lungs with polarized Silurian shale gas when you are called into the arena. If you're still puffed up from your last victory, you can wipe that cocky grin off your face. The arena of Dbarg is all about contact. No weapons allowed. These aren't quite so green this time. Oh, but you seem to be turning that color. Must be the polarized Silurian. So, this level?
The next arena. Savor the taste of your final breath.
You don't get any weapons. However, you get turbo. Turbo lets you hit pretty bloody. Also, music, not terrible. It is again very much I want to be Quake 3, but and again, it's so fast. Really strange. Fast guys, retribution, and he doesn't he actually survived that. Get back here.
Your skills are unexpected. We shall have to try next time.
Getz, the capital city of Atzed. Tonight will be your first real exhibition. Drivers who have won at least 2 qualifying rounds are allowed the honor of competing in sanctioned matches before the Zedite Power Elite. You feel all special. Stands this evening will be the mayor of Getz, along with several leaders of the Virtue Enforcement Squad. Many an human eye will be upon you. You know the rumor. Drivers with 3 or more wins begin to attract attention, some good and some not so good. choice do you have except to win? We now have a new car. I am dressing it up as a taxi.
Prepare for your extinction, Earthworm.
Being safe to actually have actual weapons. This is basically just doing death punch. It's pretty easy.
Your paltry skills have eked out a minuscule victory. It shall be your last.
See about that. Minding your business, toiling in the mindless swelter of the Dubai gas fields, when a rock the size of Hebrews 7 carooms off your shoulder.
Yo, Bumper Boy!
Turn to see a massive gek tree of a man, backed by a group of buddies. So you got 3. Man said. It's me 6. Shucks. Just say shucks. So. Pins flashing teeth. Gravestones. What's your fighting when you ain't a node? Before you can turn some serious butt, a Zedite quickly sees upon true human. Zedite arranges an impromptu to settle the score. His buddies made the best driver. Goal is to earn 20,000 points before the expires.
And what would you like for your last meal? Sorry, too late. Keep fooling yourself, prisoner. Ultimate freedom is a mirage.
When things go down, it's all manner of roots at scaly matches pop up. In every Zedite civilian use their salaries bet heavily on his cards right. Decide to play side match. I was hoping to stock away a little. Just getting home, it's not getting killed. Any point to keep in mind. Now have the scream machine. It's painful. Let's go with the flames.
The games continue. It will be a pleasant moment's diversion, watching you expire. Your paltry skills have eked out a minuscule victory. It shall be your last.
Yeah. Another day in the gas fields, but your spirits are a little pockets. Due to last night's surprise win, 5 under your belt. It's enough cash to buy a shuttle. Let's drift on. You! So the Zedite guard crunched through the dust, pulverizing your daydream. He's not coming. He's heard of your skills and wants to bet on you. It's lunchtime. It's here in the gas fields. Give him away. Asking you don't care. Another weed of Salernian gas, and you'll be shipping out a Galax overnight. Except 5,000 points.
This will hurt us more than it hurts you. Oops, no, it'll hurt you more. Sorry. Your paltry skills have eked out a minuscule victory. It shall be your last.
Gee, these surroundings look familiar. I swear, back in the battlefields, but that's a guard game. So it's official. It's just that I resolve hard tempered. You will get home. Zedites pay. Somehow, someday. DR bus unlocks you towards 2 words. Somehow, someday. Goal. 25 francs, 3 lives. We have a new the meat grind.
Your stubborn insolence is about to be evaporated. You win, and your prize, more bone-pounding punishment.
Looks like you got this for after. Seems it said I command. So gas point. Job. That's finished. It's a spacecraft. It's tough to work with starts, but the night speaks. And so by it, drive it. Screaming.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Oh, you too, Microbe. hate you. Did I mention that? Move along.
One sec. dilemma for the Zedites. With 8 wins, you've become a bankable commodity. That's good. But you're more than halfway to winning. That's bad. Of course, the Zedites will see to it that you never reach your goal, but the possibility sends shivers through your captors' twisted spines. They don't want you becoming an inspiration, Zed forbid. Time to ship you to the maximum security facility in New Patebron. For you will continue to compete without attracting undue attention from impressionable newbies. Fair warning, every driver at New Patebron is at least an 8-timer. You might want to put the word hope on ice. You won't be needing it here. 30,000 points, 3 lives. Let's get the Cyclone. Oddly enough, despite looking like it's a speed and acceleration monster, it really isn't. It is in fact the most defensive car you have at this point. Kinda weird.
Are you under the illusion that ultimate victory is actually possible? You are pitiful.
You gotta be careful with those outer
Your skills are unexpected. We shall have to try next time.
You tried that, it didn't work. A truth about the oppressed. They will often turn on one another rather than unite against an oppressor. Your time in New Tebrion has been marked by violence and threats, but mostly from fellow inmates. Seems every driver in Sector 1 wants to be Alpha Hound. If testosterone was flammable, you wouldn't light a match in here. Speaking of matches, the Warden knows a great one when he smells it. He tells guards to haul every driver on 141 out to the interplanetary parking complex where a makeshift arena awaits. This sorry pack of Alpha Pups will soon be thinned to a more manageable number. 1. Winner will represent New Tebrion in the prestigious Interprison Eliminator, the biggest public event on Otzed. Ah, the thrill of victory, the...
A new arena mustn't dawdle. Your unpleasant demise awaits.
This is pretty similar to the previous arena, except there's a top with ramps out onto the next
Your skills are unexpected. We shall have to try next time.
Keep skipping the one I like. It's the day of the Interprison Eliminator has arrived. Much as you hate the Zedites and everything they represent, it's hard not to get caught up in the moment. Marching bands, fireworks, aerial shows. This thing makes the Super Bowl look like the three-legged race at St. Mike's. And you represent New Tebrion, perennial favorite. You smile and wave through the roaring crowd. A dark glint in a young Zedite's eyes drives home a starker truth. We're all here to watch you die. Force yourself to remember why you're here. Your daughter. Distant as a dream, but alive inside you. You center yourself and steel your nerves. Someone's going to die, but it won't be you. We now have a truck. The truck is amazing.
One question before we begin. Interment or cremation? Think about it.
And that is why the truck is awesome.
Your skills are unexpected. We shall have to try next time.
Okay, one sec. The game does not run well on this computer. The Zedites may not be Martha Stewart, but they can be surprisingly civilized. To celebrate your victory in the Interprison Eliminator, they have staged an exhibition match at your old stomping grounds, the Debargian gas mining fields. Local boy makes good at what? He'll put on a show of your driving skills, collecting 30 precious power cells while low-level newbies take harmless pot shots. How very civilized. Time to break out the tea and crumpets. You get to keep all the cells too, enough to power a small shuttle all the way home. Yes! And if the Zedites have accidentally substituted ringers for the newbies in order to publicly dramatize what happens to criminals who think they can beat the system, well, don't get your nickels in a bundle, old trap. We get a new car, the Juice Deuce. It's a racer. Which is good, because that's what we're doing.
Lose, meat puppet. I mean it this time.
For normal arena match type stuff, it's seriously fun and this match type, not particularly complex. Catch as many as you can. Don't worry about the others. They exist, but they're just power cells. It's not like you're running out of terminal anytime soon. This map has a lot of its flaw makes it very fun. pain in the ass. That's the initiative stuff.
Keep fooling yourself, prisoner. Ultimate freedom is a mirage.
I won't waste what little time you have left, breathes a terrifying voice from the shadows of the prison yard. You strain to glimpse the speaker, but a guard grips you from behind. You're a 12-timer. You suit our needs. Your heart deflates. With enough cash to buy an old shuttle, enough power cells to fuel at home, you've been naive enough to start making plans. Seems those plans have just been rewritten. Atzed has been embroiled in a war for many years. Losses have been heavy for all sides. Our rivals have proposed a final means of settlement. Since it rests on our own technology, we had little choice but to agree. Each of the 6 warring parties shall send one representative into the Bumper Wars arenas. Winner take all. The Zedites have chosen you. That is all. Take him away. The fight, Boulder Dasher.
Your tiny flame of hope remains improbably alight. Time for a dousing.
It's tough. On this one, you just need it through the lines.
It appears you have won the battle, but the war belongs to us.
It's appropriate for the mission. Your temptation to throw the last battle and stick it to the Zedites was overruled by the deeper call of home. So close now. You check your prison cell's holo monitor to admire the 5 power cells sitting in your storage locker. Your empty storage locker. A high cackle issues from a nearby cell. Those PCs of yours fetched me a pretty chunk of change, Slim. It's Stark. The other 13 timer in the business. Next time, don't say your lock combo in your sleep. Your power cells, your ticket home, gone. Fury is up inside you, but you channel it. You ask the warden for a match, you against Stark. To your surprise, he agrees. One of you will be eliminated now, intones Zedite as you enter the arena. The other in a final round. But do hear this. Neither of you will feel the delicious probe of a blade carving a 15 into your hungry flesh. Oh, dang. We now have the other one, Godzilla. Godzilla is the other troop.
No one has ever survived this long. If you prevail in the final 2 arenas, we are compelled to set you free.
There we go. This level's a little interesting. You have an enemy. The only frags that count are the frags on your one enemy. If you've ever played Halo with Kill Target, it's a bit like that, except that your target doesn't change every time you succeed.
It appears you have won the battle, but the war belongs to us.
Yeah, you're about to watch the last level. I started this an hour ago. Last level. We've tried to be nice, explains the Zeddite commander evenly. We've given you every opportunity to die with honor, but like Vigweed, you persist. It's about time we stopped. How do they say it on Earth? Screwing around! The Magmite tabletop shatters beneath his fist. Until now you have fought only fallible opponents. Today you shall face Zeddites. We drive at a level beyond your comprehension. We have no fear. We make no mistakes. And you must make no mistake. This day you will die. Your goal is to collect 35 power cells, which will be yours to keep in the unlikely event of your survival, which the Zeddite Elite Driving Corps tries to stop you. As you don your driving gauntlets, one image fills your mind to capacity. The eyes of your young daughter. Let the games begin. Today, Zed himself couldn't stop you. And appropriate for one last power cell level, you get the fastest car in the game.
It all comes down to this. Don't disappoint us. Lose.
Yeah, this car is fast enough that its normal top speed without boost is faster than the next fastest car with boost. It's insane. It's also pretty much the perfect car for this level, which is good, because you get it. This is the last level of the game. The names are pulled from different names than usual. Don't bother trying to just keep getting six. That should give you some sense of how fast the Accelerate is. I mean, they called it the Accelerate. That should give you some sense of what it's supposed to be. It actually lives up to it, which is kind of impressive.